Dr. Emma Taylor, a trailblazing psychologist, was captivated by the human psyche's response to isolation. Her fascination with the depths of the mind led her to explore the uncharted territories of human consciousness. Her ambition: to unravel the mysteries of the mind in the face of utter solitude. She believed that understanding how the mind copes with extreme isolation could unlock new dimensions of psychological resilience. Driven by an insatiable curiosity, she devised an experiment that would push the boundaries of ethical research. Her plan was to isolate individuals in a controlled environment to observe the effects on their mental state. Little did she know, she was about to open a door to a darkness she couldn't comprehend. The experiment would not only test the limits of her subjects, but also her own understanding of the human mind. Dr. Taylor secured funding and chose a secluded, abandoned asylum for her experiment. The location was perfect for the isolation she required, far from the distractions of the modern world. The building, with its history of confinement and despair, seemed to hum with an unsettling energy. Its walls had witnessed countless stories of suffering, making it an eerie backdrop for her study. Undeterred, she pressed on, convinced that the ends justified the means. She meticulously planned every detail, ensuring that the experiment would yield valuable insights into the human condition. 5 volunteers, carefully selected for their mental fortitude, signed their consent forms. They were briefed on the nature of the experiment, though the true extent of what they would face remained undisclosed. They were ready to face the abyss, unaware of the horrors that awaited them. Each step they took into the darkened halls of the asylum brought them closer to an unknown fate, one that would challenge their very sanity. The asylum's dilapidated cells were refurbished, each equipped with a bed, a toilet, and a desk with writing materials. No windows, no clocks, no connection to the outside world. The participants, their initial bravado fading, were ushered into their respective cells. The heavy metal doors clanged shut, the echoes resonating through the desolate corridors. The first few days were met with a mixture of anxiety and boredom. The participants filled their journals with mundane observations, their thoughts clear and rational. They wrote about their families, their aspirations, their fears. But as the days bled into nights, the silence became a suffocating presence. Their entries grew shorter, more erratic. Something was changing. The journals began to paint a disturbing picture. The participants described hearing whispers, faint and indistinct, slithering at the edge of their perception. They wrote of shadows dancing in the corners of their cells, shifting and contorting in their peripheral vision. Their dreams, once mundane, became vivid nightmares, filled with chilling imagery and a sense of impending doom.
I feel like I'm being watched. There's a constant unseen presence lurking just beyond my sight. Help me, please.
Another participant, a stoic businessman named John, wrote in a shaking hand about the darkness whispering his name, tempting him with promises of power and oblivion. Their sanity, once unshakable, was crumbling. Then the disappearances began. It started with John, a quiet man who kept to himself. Dr. Taylor and her team found his cell empty, the door still locked from the outside, as if he had simply vanished into thin air. The only sign of his presence was his journal, lying open on the floor, pages scattered as if in a hurry. The last entry, scrawled in a hand that was barely recognizable as his own, sent chills down their spines. "It has a name." The words were almost illegible, written in a frantic, desperate manner.
"It has a name."
Panic set in. Security was heightened. The remaining participants monitored even more closely, but fear was palpable in the air. But it was no use. One by one, they vanished, leaving behind their journals, each filled with increasingly disturbing entries and cryptic messages. The writings grew more incoherent, more desperate with each disappearance. The asylum, once a place of scientific inquiry, had transformed into a macabre puzzle box, its secrets hidden in the ramblings of broken minds. The walls seemed to whisper, the shadows seemed to move, and the air was thick with an unspoken dread. Section 5. The last subject. Only Sarah remained, her once bright eyes now vacant windows into a tormented soul.
Her journal entries had become nonsensical, filled with strange symbols and frantic pleas to something she called the Nameless.
She scratched at the walls, muttering to unseen entities, her mind teetering on the precipice of madness.
Dr. Taylor, her initial confidence shattered, watched Sarah's descent with growing horror.
The experiment had gone horribly wrong, unleashing something evil and ancient within the asylum's walls.
She had become a prisoner of her own creation, trapped in a nightmare of her own design.
Her only solace was Sarah, the last link to the truth, the last hope of understanding what she had unleashed.
As Sarah's condition deteriorated, her ramblings became more coherent, her words carrying a chilling weight. She spoke of a being of pure darkness, imprisoned long ago, yearning for release. She spoke of its whispers, its promises, its hunger. She spoke of its name, a name that sent shivers down Dr. Taylor's spine, Azazel.
Driven by a desperate hope, Dr. Taylor clung to Sarah's words. She delved into ancient texts, scouring forgotten lore for any mention of Azazel. She discovered tales of a powerful entity, a demon of the shadows, cast out for its insatiable hunger for human souls. Her blood ran cold as she realized the terrifying truth. Her experiment had inadvertently awakened Azazel, freeing it from its ancient prison.
Dr. Taylor watched in horror as Sarah, her body racked with tremors, uttered a final chilling warning. "He's coming for you, Doctor. He's coming for us all." And then, silence. Sarah lay still, her eyes vacant, her spirit seemingly extinguished.
Dr. Taylor was alone, trapped in the asylum with the entity she had unwittingly unleashed. Fear gnawed at her sanity, but a strange sense of clarity pierced through the terror. She felt a presence, cold and ancient, wrapping around her like a shroud. Whispers slithered into her mind, promises of power and forbidden knowledge. She felt herself changing, her humanity ebbing away, replaced by something dark and hungry. The asylum stands empty now, a testament to Dr. Taylor's reckless ambition. Once a place of hope and healing, it has become a monument to despair and ruin. The walls echo with the whispers of the damned, the air thick with an oppressive dread. Every corner seems to hold a shadow, every creak a ghostly reminder of the past. The journals of the participants remain, scattered across the cell floors, a chilling chronicle of their descent into madness. Each page tells a story of hope turned to horror, of minds unraveling in the face of unspeakable terror. The authorities, unable to explain the disappearances, sealed the asylum, declaring it a hazard. They hoped to bury the past, to hide the horrors within, but the truth has a way of seeping through the cracks. But rumors persist, whispered tales of strange lights and chilling sounds emanating from within its decaying walls. Some say they have seen figures moving in the shadows, heard voices calling out in the dead of night. Some say the asylum is haunted by the spirits of the lost participants, their souls forever ensnared by the entity they helped unleash. They wander the halls, trapped in an endless loop of torment and despair. Others believe that something far more sinister lurks within, something ancient and evil, biding its time, waiting for the right moment to escape its prison and unleash its darkness upon the world. This malevolent force, they say, is the true master of the asylum, and it will stop at nothing to reclaim its dominion over the living. Dr. Taylor's journal lies open on the floor of her former office, its final entry a chilling testament to her fate. The handwriting is no longer her own, the words scrawled in a spidery, almost alien script. There is no escape, it reads. He is here. He is me. We are one. The final page is blank, except for a single, chilling word, scrawled in thick, black ink. Azazel. The darkness has a name, and it is listening.